What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Review Show. I'm your host, Chris. Joining me today are my co-hosts, Kelsey and Bree. And today, we're here to talk about your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. We're a little late on this one. Shit happens. It's called life, but we're finally here. I'm actually really excited to talk about this, but before we jump into, and just so people know, I'm guessing you're going to probably guess from the title, but just so you know, we're going to be talking about Far From Home. Before we jump into that, I finally got a chance to get around to finishing Into the Spider-Verse. So I feel since we're talking about Spider-Man, I should start off with that and touch on that a little bit. Movie was great. Movie was really fucking good. I really enjoyed Into the Spider-Verse. I thought it was really, really well done. I felt like they captured pretty much every Spider-Man they put into that dimension very well compared to the comics, especially Miles. I was really happy to see that done very well, since it's the first time we've kind of had that Spider-Man in this unit in any kind of movie fashion. So I was pretty pumped about that. You know, and it also goes to show just like how every Spider-Man is just a little bit different. Like a lot of it's still somewhat the same, but you know, like he still had his parents, but his uncle still died, but his uncle was a bad guy. So that was
uncle
really
thing
cool.
Surprised the fuck out of me, and I really liked that part. Well, all of a sudden he just find out that it was his uncle. I didn't even see that coming.
Yeah. My favorite part was easily the very end, whenever he was like holding he was holding the Spider-Man over the ledge, and he was all like, "You got to go home," and he's all like, "Yeah, but what if it doesn't work?" And he's like, "Well, it won't." And then he just looks at him, and then he just let go, and he's like, "It's a leap of faith." And I was like, "Yeah, he got him." I was like, that was pretty good. That was pretty good.
It was a good series.
Yep. I definitely liked it. I thought it was good. They made Kingpin unnecessarily huge. Like, that dude was fucking gigantic. Holy fuck me. I was like,
and when
Jesus.
It was all at his shoulders, and then he had these little like corgi legs at the bottom, I'm just like, Jesus.
Gosh.
Corgi legs. Oh
That's
my
what
God.
it looks like.
Now I've never.
What if you turned around and he had a corgi butt? Like, you just saw the cute little heart-shaped corgi butt. He's walking and it's waddling back and forth.
That would somewhat ruin him as a villain. Not gonna lie.
Now, yeah. I've never seen
and corgi legs wouldn't.
Kind of do, but he snarls at you and clicks his pen a bunch, and then you get over it.
Now, I've never seen the movie series Despicable Me, but that's what he reminded me of.
Oh, he does, actually, yeah.
Just
oh my God,
bigger.
yes, he does look like Groot. That's fair.
Yeah. So I was all like, hey.
Groot?
But yeah, I have no idea what his name is.
I said Groot. What did I mean to say?
I've never watched it. I never watched it.
You've never watched Despicable Me? Guy's name's Gru, not Groot. I apologize.
What's funny is I had my ringtone is the Beto for like from Despicable Me, but I've never watched it.
Good Lord.
Oh my.
Awful. I was at work one time. Actually, 3 times. Once at my old job, one at my new job. And people really questioned me, I think.
As they should. Oh, that's wonderful.
It's obnoxiously loud, too. It's like, it's not like you can get away with like a like quiet little ringtone. It's obnoxiously loud. So I deleted it from my phone in fear that it would happen while I was at work again. And somehow it's still saved on my phone, and that's why it happened the 3rd time.
Oh, that's amazing.
Good Lord.
I love that. I love everything about that. Please continue subjecting yourself to humiliation for my entertainment.
It's only entertaining if you can see it.
That's true, but I hear about it later, and I can picture the look on your face as it goes off, and it's just
to my cubicle as I'm like all the way down on the other side.
Yes,
running back to
it.
Anyways, but Noir Spider-Man being in there was really, really cool. I really enjoyed that. That's one of my favorite Spider-Men, so I was pretty pumped about that one. Peter Porker was hilarious. I was glad that he made his little stunt in there. I like it whenever they're all like, "Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this?" And it gets to him, and he's like, "Can you float through the air as you smell a good pie?" And I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. They're really milking this fucking Looney Tunes guy right now. It's great. So
it wasn't like crazy good, but I enjoyed it. I would give it an 8.
The movie? Mm-hmm. I mean, the 8's pretty fucking high for someone that's like, I enjoyed it. It wasn't great.
Well, we're talking about Spider-Man, the movie that we watched in theaters. Like that one was amazing.
Well, I wasn't talking about that one yet, but I guess we can go ahead and transition into that. I was trying to give a little love to Into the Spider-Verse.
I'm saying like that's what we were on.
Hang on. I want to give love into the Spider-Verse
yes,
real fast.
Let's do that, please.
Yes,
let's do that.
Because the music was amazing.
Music was great.
The art was incredible.
That's true. The art was really good.
The Stan Lee cameo was fucking amazing. Stan Lee cameo was so fucking good. I loved it so much. Oh my god, that shit cracked me the fuck up. I mean, just to hit him with
I don't remember it.
It's whenever he goes to buy the Spider-Man suit and he goes, "Will it fit?" And Stanley goes, "It always fits."
Oh,
and
it's like
right. It's like this super like strong like, oh my god, I can be a hero. And then all of a sudden it just shows Stanley smiling, and then as the camera widens, you see the sign that's like no refunds for any reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
I was like, that's fucking great. And then I do like whenever he's in the crowd listening to Mary Jane talking, and he's sitting there wearing the thing, and he's like, "She's talking directly to me." And the guy's like, "Well, she's not talking directly to you. She's just talking to all of us." But yeah. Like the guy's standing next to him also in the Spider-Man outfit. It was pretty good. It's pretty good.
I loved the hobo Spider-Man that they brought in. I thought he was so much fun, and they had a good time with him without making him too stupid. So like when he was thinking about like Dr. Ock kind of thing, and he's like, "Okay, so go in there and I'm gonna find the head scientist. I'm gonna kick his ass. Actually, the head scientist is a woman. Okay, then step 7, I'm gonna check my own personal biases, and then I am going to kick the head scientist's ass."
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was good. I'm not gonna lie, I was having a really hard time picturing who the fuck you were talking about when you said hobo Spider-Man. I was like,
yeah,
who the fuck is she talking about? I was like, what? I get it. You're talking about midlife crisis Spider-Man, I think is more who you were.
Probably more accurate.
But they refer to him as hobo Spider-Man.
Oh, I didn't remember that. Oh, fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough.
when midlife crisis Spider-Man goes off into the science building and leaves Miles outside, like sitting on the rock. Miles like slides down the rock and he's like, "How did I get stuck with this hobo Spider-Man?" And whacks the rock with his arm, and that's when the rock splits. And he's like, "Oh, that's new." Like that is that moment. It's right before Kingpin shows up.
Okay.
I just watched this 2 days ago. Can you tell?
There you go. I was like, damn, dude, she fucking really like took all this in from that one watch. Holy shit. Props.
I loved the whole train scene too, when they were attached to the train and he couldn't figure out how to like get off the train, and so they're like bouncing off of headstones and buses and people, and just I absolutely love that. And every now and then our hobo Spider-Man would wake up long enough to run into something screaming and then get him knocked back out.
Yeah, that was good.
That was really fun.
It was really good, but I can't give it higher than an 8 because the Spider-Man movie we just watched was really good.
Okay, so I guess we can go ahead and make our transition. So, Spider-Man Far From Home. This is going to be an interesting show considering the fact of how Kelsey just let out that noise. But
sorry.
This Spider-Man easily is probably within my top 5 Marvel movies. From a comic book / video game perspective, the fight scene with Mysterio alone was absolutely fucking phenomenal and probably one of my favorite fight scenes to date in a Marvel movie. To date. Like, it was so much like the comics where Spider-Man had no idea where the fuck he was, what was going on, and like they even did the cool thing where he like switches his costumes and shit like that, making him like downgrade, making him feel like he's nothing. He was like, "You're nothing but a kid in a sweatshirt," and then switched him to that. It was fucking phenomenal. 100%.
It was a really amazing movie.
I felt like I was reading. I literally felt like I was reading a comic. It was exactly how they do it in the video games, exactly how they do it in the comics. It was fucking nuts. The only difference is that it was all illusions due to technology, to where in the comics it's all illusions due to magic, because Mysterio can actually cast the spells and do shit like that. So he's actually like a master of the mystical arts, which is great because, as Kelsey can confirm during our spoiler-free review show, I called the fuck out of this. I don't know if I can actually say that due to the fact that I read the comics, but I called the fuck out of this. I was like, there's no way Mysterio's a goddamn hero. I was like, I guarantee you he's making these monsters so that way he can get fame, he can get money. Exactly what I was saying. It's exactly what the fuck was happening. And what really strengthened that for me whenever I finally sat down to watch the movie was the first monster. It had no face. And I'm like, so we're just going to have like these faceless fucking monsters showing up. Now the fire one did, but the water one had literally no face. And I was like, I kind of feel like this is like the easiest way to be like, all right, this is definitely fucking an illusion. And now fucking Mysterio's out of nowhere.
Okay.
He didn't want really Spider-Man to like tie in.
You completely saw it coming. Get out of here.
I mean, go watch the spoiler-free review show. I called it.
Spoiler-free review show.
I called it every aspect of this. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, he did.
Once again, I read the comics, so I don't know if I can actually say I called it because I have the previous knowledge.
I guess it wasn't spoiler free if you ruined it for every
I said that on the review show too. I said, to beware, if I'm correct, this is all because I don't work at Marvel and Disney and make the movies. This is solely because I read the comics. So at your own risk, continue to watch. I say this every time we do anything spoiler free Marvel related because that's true. 100% could happen.
I did not see that part coming at all. Like, I had no idea that he was doing illusions or anything. I obviously did not watch the spoiler-free Spider-Man review show.
They really tried to fucking throw people off the trail with this whole, like, I'm from a different dimension, because then it started making you think about, like, Into the Spider-Verse and all these different Spider-Verses and shit, and I was like, holy fuck. I was like, yeah, that's more of, like, DC style. I was like, I don't know if I'm buying it, Mysterio. Look here, Mr. Jake Gyllenhaal. I don't think I'm fucking buying it. I wasn't, and I was right.
And I wasn't.
The moment they were in the bar, for sure, before like he even gave him the glasses, like as soon as they sat down, they were together, I was like, oh man, this is where it's gonna happen. Like immediately in my head, I was like, this is so gonna be a big thing because they're making this to be this big scene, and it's really like there hasn't been enough time between these two characters for this kind of scene, in my opinion. Like they've literally seen each other like 3 times. And majority of that was trying not to die by whatever the fuck they were fighting. So I was like, this scene should not be happening right now. And it just felt so like it felt like a good scene. It to me, knowing that Mysterio was going to change, it felt awkward to me that this scene was happening this early. I was like, yeah, no, he's definitely about to fucking change it. Sure enough, as soon as he got the glasses, I was like, no, what are you doing? And he walked out, and I was like, he's like, get this stupid suit off me. I was like, God damn it. I didn't want it to happen, but it fucking happened.
Yep.
I only felt bad for Tom Holland. I mean, like I said, Mysterio, I like Mysterio. I think he's actually probably one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. So I was pretty happy that we got Mysterio. I've always liked his look. It looks cool, even though he gets called the fishbowl head by Spider-Man. I mean, that's like his classic. That's his classic insult.
Yeah, because he kind of looks a little weird.
It's cool as shit though, with the fucking smoke and shit going around. You can't see his face. It looks cool as fuck.
You don't think it's cool?
I think it's cool as shit. I love it.
I thought it looked really cool.
Mysterio's a badass. Yes.
Like I could see how it could get ridiculous, but I thought that the smoke that was swirling around and the magic aspect looked really cool. Until I found out it was all an illusion, then I was like really upset. I was sad.
Yep.
Made her mad.
I like
I like Magic, and I was upset. He looked like a really cool character. I like Magic. I wanted him to be real.
I liked Edith. That was hilarious. Like whenever it's like, my name is Edith, and he's like, oh, and it's like, do you want to know what Edith stands for? And it's like, yeah, sure. Even in death, I'm the hero. I was like, that's fucking awesome. I was like, God damn it, Tony Stark, you son of a bitch.
I loved it.
That was so good. I like to see him in the spy outfit because that's basically like a play off the noir outfit.
Wait,
so that was
before
really,
we go
really
on,
cool.
can we just hear our general thoughts? Because I'm curious what Kelsey thinks.
Well, like I said, this is in my top 5. So if I had to kind of give it a rating, oh man, I feel like an 8.5 is pretty fair for this movie. 8.5 because it's not ever going to be better than any of the Deadpools. And it's not ever going to be better than Endgame. Like, nothing can beat Endgame. And the first Avengers, to me, was a really, really hardcore movie for me. Because that was the first time I got to see all my heroes on screen together. So, just the nostalgia factor on that one. That one's a rough one to beat. Like, even the first Avengers is pretty high up there compared to, like, Endgame, honestly. I'm not even lying on that one. I would probably watch Avengers more times than I would watch Endgame. The first one. Not that Ultron second piece of shit that we got. So
yeah, we've heard you rant about that a few times. I think the audience doesn't know how you feel about that now.
Anyways, Kelsey.
Knowing after I knew going into it, this, like, you and I had that conversation. I knew Mysterio was a bad guy. I went in going, there's no way you're a good guy. I'm waiting for the shoe to drop the whole time.
God dang it, you ruined it for Kelsey, Chris. I'm so pissed.
to the comic book reader's world.
I almost texted you when I was done with the movie, and I'm like, is this what it feels like watching movies knowing this
yes,
stuff? Because
100%. Yes, you're just waiting. Yes.
Is a little bit less fun, to be totally honest.
That's great.
And so I didn't get pulled in by him. So I'm like, okay, if I know he's a bad guy, I'm not going to assume he's a good guy. Like, I will spend this whole movie assuming he's not a good guy until it's proven at the end of the movie that he is. So how is he doing it? How is this happening? I'm like, okay, well, these are the things that we can actually see that are going on. So I guessed drones early on. So when he like snapped that piece off and like threw it, I was like, oh, I'm right. Like, the only way this could have happened was via drones. Although I don't like that hologram system because that's not really realistic and doesn't exist and can't exist, and like sunshine.
Like one that actually physically hits you type thing.
Well, they had the drones were doing their own damage.
Yeah,
that's how
hits
they were
doing
doing
actually
that.
Like little bullets and missiles and stuff like that they were shooting. But the more of, hey, if we've got this whole series of things, they're all going to shine lights and then we're just going to see this thing. Like, no, you, like, even in a laser show, you can't see the lasers unless you have the smoke, and you can't get those really amazing holograms. Like, if we had holograms to the technology that they had in that movie, there'd be a lot more that we would be doing in like live shows and things like that.
Well, let's be for real. This is like superheroes. This is superheroes and magical powers. So
I know, but those magical powers all have limits.
Let's not dig too deep in the holograms.
I know. But the technology, like the hologram, bothered me because I was like, okay, it was too powerful of a hologram because a little bit crap, and that should not have pulled me out of anything. I'm aware, but it did. And so I called drones fairly early, and I knew he was a bad guy. So I was just watching him manipulate the crap out of Peter the entire time. Like, that's what I did. I just watched him manipulate him.
That's such a different perspective. That sucks.
And it was really funny, though, to watch him manipulate Nick Fury and not have Nick Fury know. And, like, Nick Fury, this whole movie, he was easily my favorite part, where he was just like, a fucking teenager is ghosting me. What the shit? Yeah. And then, like, when he finds out that he's wrong about, you know, Mysterio and all this kind of good stuff, it was just, Nick Fury was my favorite part of the movie. And I didn't actually get drawn into the story until his final fight with Mysterio. Like, until then, I kept waiting to get drawn into it, which it's never taken me that long to get drawn into a modern Marvel movie. And so I was like, damn it. Like, I hate that I know enough about this to not be enjoying this experience the way, like, my husband and my friend were that were with me kind of thing. Like, it would have been almost cool, better not to know. But it was also really fun to watch him do the manipulations.
So see, now we have that test, though, of where we sit. So now we know for future episodes there's certain things that I can just hold back.
No, just tell me if I'm
not gonna pick on you every single episode. Like, it just ruins your experience. I just need to get more comic oriented people on the show, and then we just go that way and just have a whole bunch of comic nerds bitch and complain about the fact that we're about to go walk into a movie and know everything that's about to happen. But to be fair, sometimes they throw shit off. It's like I said with the first Avengers, their first fight had nothing to do with aliens. They were fighting Loki, but it had zero to do with aliens. They were fighting Loki and the Hulk. They weren't fighting fucking aliens. So that was a whole fucking throw out of goddamn left field for us. So that's where they got us off guard. So I thought maybe.
Actually, something I was going to ask you is the reveal at the end when he's like, by the way, Spider-Man's name is Peter Parker. And, like, just called him out. Did that ever happen in the comics?
Yeah, it's happened before.
It's happened before where somebody's just specifically told him, like, told the world?
Yep. No, it's happened before.
Okay.
And, like, everybody can find out exactly where he lives, and then people are trying to kill him and Aunt May, da-da-da-da.
Dude, I knew that he was going to do something afterwards. I was like, this sleazy motherfucker. So is he dead, or is he alive?
Oh, Mysterio?
Oh, he's dead.
Yeah, Mysterio's dead.
But he just did it as a last-ditch effort type thing?
Yep.
He still had the opportunity to save his legacy, and he was going to do that.
Yep.
He wanted to go down in history as a hero, even if he wasn't alive to see it.
I thought it was a great way to set up the whole hateful shit with J. Jonah Jameson, which, by the way, bringing him back as J. Jonah Jameson was fucking amazing. I'm so happy about that. He does such a good job. Oh,
Did you
my
see
God.
his face though? Like when he was up on there, you could tell that while he was yelling and trying to be angry, like as an actor, he was genuinely enjoying what he was
Yes, he
doing, and I
was,
could
dude.
see that in his damn face. And I'm like, "You, sir, I love you."
He's so good as fucking Jay Jonah. Like, he is so fucking good. Oh my God. So one thing that I've said on multiple different videos across multiple different channels is the fact that Andrew Garfield is my favorite Spider-Man. That has not changed, but I have a lot of more love and a lot more respect for Tom Holland. I think Tom Holland's doing a great job as Spider-Man. I can officially come out and say that 100%. I think he's doing a great job as Peter Parker. Still loved Andrew Garfield more. I thought he was a great. I was watching a very interesting video on that, and I kind of agree with it to an extent. I think that this certain channel, and I won't name the channel, drove really hard into one point. I think just because they wanted to make content related to the thing, since it was something that was being talked about at the moment with Spider-Man. But they talked about the reason why Andrew Garfield wasn't Spider-Man anymore. First off, they were completely wrong. Once again, I won't name the channel. First off, they were completely wrong on why he's not Spider-Man anymore. They said that he was too cool of a Peter Parker, that Sony could see that and wanted to move away because he was supposed to be a lot more geeky or nerdier, and that's not why. There were definitely some inter issues between Andrew Garfield and the director and stuff like that. That's more of the reason why. Not to mention Marvel was also getting ready to do this buyout, and they weren't planning on continuing with Sony Spider-Man. They were going to do their own Spider-Man. There are multiple reasons why he's not Spider-Man anymore. Him being too cool of a Peter Parker, definitely is not one of them. Anyways, so, and this is public information. It's out there. You can be fucking re-Google for once. Anyways, so moving forward from that, it was interesting to look at the three differences though, because Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker wore glasses. Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland don't. So it was like Tobey Maguire, they tried to go hardcore. And to be fair, Tobey Maguire is older, and he was older in those movies than these two actors were during their stint as Spider-Man. So he was really trying to play that hard, geeky, nerdy kid, I feel like, to where like it was a little too much for me, in my opinion, to where like Tom Holland, I feel, is kind of like that perfect middle ground.
A good, awkward, nerdy, nice kid.
Right. And like, because look at it this way, for instance, one of the things that they did point out that I thought was a good point was, like I said, how we just had the Tobey Maguire piece of shit where he fucking like hardcore is talking about chemistry and stuff all the time, trying to hardcore play at the nerd aspect, wearing the glasses, to where Andrew Garfield was not so much of like a pick on me nerd. He was still very geeky about science and everything else, and still very smart and shit like that, but he still didn't have like that like I get beat up in school type geek aspect to him, which is where they kind of said he was too cool of a Peter Parker. Yes, and then Tom Holland, I feel, is like that perfect in the middle, because they're like, I mean, he's still doing sleepovers with his friends, building the Death Star out of Legos and shit like that. Like I kind of get like their point on Tom Holland. I feel is pretty spot on. So,
oh my God, their relationship is so awkward. Who? Tom Holland and the girl.
Oh, Mary Jane.
Zendaya?
It is so hard to watch, and I know they purposely were doing this, but it was so hard to watch them interacting with each other, because I don't know, in my mind when I look at her, she like is super cool and she just doesn't care about anything, and to see her be so awkward in that aspect was just weird to me. But
I think it kind of fit the whole high school feeling though.
Yeah.
Like them being extremely awkward around each other, because you got to also take in like all the things that are also happening. Like, she has the thought that he's Spider-Man. He is Spider-Man and not trying to show it to fucking anybody. He's also got all this other shit going on. Like, this is something I was talking about earlier with a couple of the guys. Was like, in my opinion, this movie did such a good job because Spider-Man was one that Stan Lee really wanted to drive home with understanding how much it actually sucks to be a hero. To know that at the end of the day, you have to do what you have to do to save lives because other people physically cannot. And to choose
can't take the day off.
And to choose to put your personal life on hold for that, and being that young is probably one of the hardest things to do ever. To accept that responsibility and know you have to act on it. And on top of that, really driving home this he's supposed to fill Iron Man's shoes just made you feel fucking terrible for Peter Parker in this movie, in my opinion. I felt so bad for him. Like, every time he started breaking down crying, I was like, how am I supposed to do this? It was like, fuck, man, I feel bad for you right now. Like they really drove that home.
Yeah.
So you got all that going on in his head, and then Mary J's got all this other shit going on in her head about, oh my god, he is Spider-Man. Da 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 da. So it's very easy to see them being awkward.
I thought you were gonna talk about the guy.
What guy?
Oh,
I want to call him the butler for some reason.
Drew or Dwayne or whatever his name was. Are you talking about Happy, or are you talking about the
Happy?
Is it Happy?
Okay.
Yeah, Happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about him? I liked Happy.
I thought you were gonna say she was distracted by Happy.
No, I liked Happy. Happy was great. Happy did great.
Bad? Anything bad? You were talking about how Aunt May was dealing with this. And
I wasn't talking about Aunt May.
With Happy.
I said Mary J. What are you talking about?
I said
MJ.
Aunt May.
No, MJ.
No, MJ.
No, MJ. I don't think. I think it's extremely weird that here we are in
Play
like.
back right now.
I can't do that right now. But anyways, I feel it's extremely weird that we have Aunt May in movie number 2 already know that he's Peter Parker or that he's Spider-Man. I was like, damn, that was fucking quick.
That was really cute
That was,
how
like,
she
right out
put
the
his
fucking
outfit
gate.
in the suitcase.
Yeah.
You forgot something, Heart.
It's like that was fucking quick as shit. But I mean, I guess to be fair, I mean, Chris, the whole blip. I mean, it's kind of hard to not know whenever there's like a galactic level threat, and all of a sudden, fucking, he's just gone. Yeah, kind of makes sense. Fair enough. I thought that was pretty funny.
I mean, that doesn't tell her he's Spider-Man, though.
I mean, I don't know.
They may have revealed who each person was after the blip, though.
She was at the funeral too, wasn't she? She was at Tony Stark's funeral, wasn't she? I believe so. I believe she was there with Tom Holland or Peter Parker, I guess I should say, in this stance. Yeah, I believe she was there with him.
I'm googling it.
But anyways, I really enjoyed Happy.
She was there.
Okay. I was really happy with Happy. I was really happy with Happy. The whole plane scene was extremely like emotional for me. Like not to the point where I was like crying, like I was at fucking Iron Man's funeral, but just like the whole like where he's like, how am I supposed to be Tony? How am I supposed to live up to that? And he's like, man, look, kid, Tony was my best friend. Tony didn't even live up to Tony. Like he second guessed himself all the time. Like it's part of the job. You're putting way too much thought into it, man. You're supposed to just react. And then like whenever he starts building on the suit, and he was wearing fucking all black, just like Iron Man in the first movie, and he's holding the wrench, and then they turned on AC/DC back in black, and fucking he's like, I love Led Zeppelin. I'm like, oh my god, this is great, dude. It cracked me the fuck up. I mean, then that was the song he was listening to when he was building the fucking suits in his garage. I was like, what a goddamn throwback, dude. This is fucking amazing. That made me smile. I was so happy about that. I was like, what a fucking way to like carry on the Iron Man legacy into a completely different movie. Like I was like, that was really good for me. I liked it. And even like him putting his hand in the hologram and bringing it up was always like how Tony would do it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck yes, dude. He looked exactly like a young Tony just working on his fucking suit back there, and Happy was just smiling. I was like, let's go.
I was gonna say significantly more emotionally mature Tony, though, because I'm pretty sure Tony at that age was just a goddamn mess.
Oh, probably. Probably.
Like,
I'm pretty sure you're right.
Probably.
He was a ladies' man. Well, not at that age, probably. Well, maybe.
I'm pretty sure at that age, his wealth was getting him into women's pants, if nothing
Right.
else.
He was a playboy, that's for sure.
Totally different lifestyle than Spider-Man when he was a kid.
Yes.
Guaranteed.
Definitely.
It's really sad to see a Marvel movie that I didn't get all excited about a Stan Lee cameo. Ugh, as the first one to finally come through. Yeah.
First one without a Stan Lee
The first
cameo.
intentional one. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I thought they recorded a bunch of extra ones so that way they could
They
throw them into
did
everything.
up to Endgame.
Oh, and then they stopped there.
Yeah, because
It doesn't feel like that long ago, though, that he was... That he passed away. How long has it been?
it was last year.
It's been a year already?
Or no, it's this year. It's this year. Yeah, it's this year. Yeah, it's the beginning of this year. Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought they stocked up a whole bunch of them.
Well, it was through Endgame, and they stocked up a whole bunch of them before he started to get to the point where like he really couldn't do that stuff anymore. It was not like
oh, so he was still alive.
He was still alive, but he was like on like extreme, like, hey, you kind of just need to like relax, live your life, because like he was still trying to do that whole like, I'm gonna go to every single Comic-Con this last year, which was the same year that I went to Comic-Con, and like, I mean, even at my Comic-Con, he went home early because he was not feeling well, and that was like day 1 out of day 3.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, he seems to be a pretty amazing individual at that age to still care that much about the people and seeing them. That's a crazy thing.
He loved his fans. He loved his community, you know? I mean, you gotta think about it. He went through the fucking ringer. I mean, Marvel went bankrupt, and he was paying a lot of shit out of his pocket in order to keep it going and bring it back up. And then they finally got it to come back up, and fucking, you know, the fans stayed there. You know, that was one of the first people to go really hardcore with the recession and shit like that, was Marvel Comics. So, yeah,
I think it's a good thing to note and good thing to learn, to see that people that get that big go through a bunch of failure before they succeed.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think that people just get rich off of one try, but really it's a bunch of failing and then and get to where you actually want to be.
I don't know if it's still there, and if it is, I cannot recommend this watch enough. It used to be on Netflix, but for anybody who is like kind of yes, if anybody who's kind of fallen in love with comics, or you're watching this and you're kind of getting more interested into the comic book universe, we've done some DFUs on multiple different Marvel characters, DC characters, stuff like that. If you're kind of getting more into it and you hear us talk so highly about Stan Lee and you kind of want to know why, his life story was put on Netflix way before he died. This is kind of something he did. It was even before his wife died, because she's in it. And I can't remember what it was called. I just think it was like Stan Lee, with great power comes great responsibility, or something like that. It was like a yellow
might be
cover.
Something like that.
I have to look it up, but it was on Netflix, and it was probably one of the like best, like, I guess, autobiography that I've ever seen in my fucking life. Like, it was so fucking good. Just to, like, hear him talk about like the struggles that they went through. He kind of talked about the falling out with Jack Kirby, which was like a huge deal back when that happened, because that's who created Captain America. That's basically who hired Stan Lee. Back then, that was fucking called Timely Comics before it was Marvel Comics. And Stan Lee's only job was to write little articles in the back of Captain America comics, little funny comic strips to kind of, you know, wrap up the comic as a comedy thing at the end and stuff like that. You know, I mean, like, they go into about, you know, how him and Jack Kirby had the falling out and how he, you know, fucking hated all of that. And it's really powerful. He talks about the fact of, you know, Marvel going under and how he personally called every single one of his like 400 employees and personally apologized to every single one of them, wishing that obviously things would have worked out better. Like, he was just a fucking awesome guy. It was funny, his wife got up and she was like dancing in front of the camera, just like, because she had put on some music. She's like, come on, get up and dance with me. He's like, I can't let the fans down. I don't know how to dance. I can't let the fans down. Can't let them see me do this. Like, he's such a good guy. That was one of my favorite things. Was like, I know he didn't really like use his Twitter, so like all his tweets weren't him. It was Stan Lee's team. But something that he would do is he would have them like put it on record on his phone, and he would just record of him talking for like 2 or 3 minutes into the camera, and he would always be talking to the fans. He's like, to all you, he called us true believers. It's like, to all you true believers out there, da 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 da, and he would just start rambling on about different things. And at the end, he was like, "So remember, keep your dreams and Excelsior every single time, always Excelsior." Love it. So, like I said, if it's still on Netflix, if it's not, try to find it. I can't recommend it enough. While we're finishing up this show here, I'll still look for what the actual name of it was, so that way I can give you the actual title here. But yeah, it was a great watch. Like I said, I can't recommend it enough.
Do you feel like it'd be a great watch even if you didn't know very much about him to begin with?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I got lucky enough that I grew up in a household that was really big on comics, so I was able to know who Stan Lee was way before. Yeah, it's just called With Great Power: The Stan Lee Story. And it's like him standing on top of a globe and all the old school drawings of the comic book heroes behind him. I don't know if it's on Netflix. It says new on Netflix USA. It's definitely not new, so I don't know how old this is, but yeah. It might still be there, it might not, but that is I highly recommend you watch that. It was extremely well done. And it's not like someone just telling you the life of Stan Lee in flashing pictures. Like, the majority is him talking directly to you and just telling his story. And it was really, really good. But back to a little bit of a, different note here. Going back to a little bit of the Spider-Man. Yeah, like I said, I can't tell you how much I love that fucking fight scene between him and Mysterio. It was so fucking good.
Real fast, Chris, I don't think we ever actually got Brie to give her full opinion.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, Brie, go.
Oh, damn. 50 minutes into the recording.
We all went off on different tangents.
We're going back to this.
We
all went off on tangents. It was crazy.
Movie, did we give ratings yet? I think we did, right?
Kinda, not really. We're gonna do it again.
He gave his.
We'll do it again.
So go for it.
What's your rating on it?
Oh, he says we'll do it at the end. We'll do it at the end.
The movie, I really liked the movie. I thought it was really good. Chris said it was in his top 5. It's not in my top 5, but for like in my mind, an off character that's not my main favorite characters, it's probably one of the best ones. Main characters be my favorite, like Guardians of the Galaxies, Avengers, that type of thing. The romantic story was a little cheesy, but I did not see the enemy thing coming, and the graphics and the way they did the visuals I thought was really cool. I did like the drones, and I did like the visual aspect where they were projecting it out. The damage was actually more where I didn't think it quite made sense, because I know that they had an arsenal within the bots, but it just didn't make sense that they were doing the damage they were doing when it seemed like all they were shooting out was a gun.
Well,
not pellets. Well, I don't want to say pellets.
I don't know, but they were shooting like actual bullets and missiles too.
Bullets, explosives. They were shooting stuff underwater. Like, I don't think
that I did see this coming. That made sense. Damage just didn't look like you wouldn't notice the missile coming unless they were cloaked. Like, you would see something different than what was happening. Explain the lightning or the wind. So, that part just to me made less sense than the projector thing. I really liked it overall, just because I didn't see it coming, which would explain why I feel Kelsey didn't like it as much, and why I wish she didn't know.
Like I said, it's for sure my number 1 Spider-Man movie. Well, man, that's actually a hard one.
Actually, I would say it is my number 1 Spider-Man movie.
That's actually pretty rough for me, because I don't know if it is. Actually, it might be tied, because like I really enjoyed the death of Gwen Stacy. I thought that was really well done. It hit home just like it did reading it in the comics, and that was like a big, strong, powerful moment for me watching that movie. So
that was a good moment, but this one's my favorite.
Yeah, I think I'd have to put it at a tie for first place with that one. I don't think I can choose one over the other on that one.
Kelsey's like, I watched a completely different movie.
Maybe I did. Maybe not. I don't know if I'd put it in my top 5 Marvel movies. I guess I've seen like 2 Spider-Man movies, so it's in my top 2 Spider-Man movies.
Jesus Christ. You really need to watch Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man.
All right.
The way you were describing it, though, I don't know, the way you described it just made it sound like you had such a negative view towards it because you knew he was evil. And to me, that sounds like you knowing the knowledge ruined a lot of the movie for you.
See, I know I may have portrayed it that way. So actually, I'm pretty sure I did portray it that way. It wasn't just knowing that he was a bad guy, so like knowing the twist at the very start of the movie, because a lot of people went to this movie knowing the twist at the start of the movie, or at least suspecting the twist. Even if I hadn't known, the whole time I'd have been like, are you really good? Really? Like, I would have had that thought. I don't know what's going on with my hands, but you get my point. So he would have been a point of suspect the whole time for me, but the fact that this one didn't pull me in as quickly, I don't know if that was entirely due to me kind of guessing that Mysterio is a bad guy. I think it may have been other things, because I remember hearing Mysterio's story of like how he got there, and I don't know enough about Mysterio to know if that's crap or not, but I'm like, God, that sounds really stupid. Like when he first explained it, I remember thinking, wow, really? Earth, air, wind, and fire? Like, really? Water, yeah. Like, seriously? We're gonna, okay, that seems a little basic, but all right. And then when they were like, people will believe anything these days, I was like, okay, well, I feel slightly vindicated by that, actually. So there were enough elements that I thought were stupid, but actually it was like Nick Fury that saved it for me, because him just being this really damn angry old man, and not in the like people respect me when I'm angry kind of way, but in the people have stopped respecting me and now I'm actually angrier, I thought was
if anyone else comes into this fucking room, I'll kill them.
What is it? We're gonna need another funeral or something. My God,
dude, it was. I love that part. Just like knock. Oh, and the relationship between Spider-Man's friend and that girl on the plane.
Oh yeah, babe.
That was the best.
Babe.
I thought that was so perfect.
And then it was ended. It was over. It started on the plane ride and ended on the way back.
Well, that's the whole joke about like teenagers and vacation romances. So I thought it was perfect.
Right. I mean, it was perfect, but it was just funny how it was described to Spider-Man when he wanted to be Peter Parker wanted to be the one to get with the girl, and then his friend ended up getting with the girl, and then when it was over, he's like, I can't remember exactly what he said, but the words he said were perfect.
Oh God,
you got to move on or something like that.
Yeah, you got to be thankful for the opportunities that you had together and the memories that you shared. It just, it didn't work out this time. It's like, this was a 4-day romance. Like, cool your jets, dude.
And it was like a quick romance too, with like their matching hats and calling them the cute nicknames. And they both went head over heels for each other, and it both ended in like a fire too.
Yeah.
Actually, it ended pretty well for them in the scheme of relationships and breakups.
That is very true. Nobody was set on fire and nobody's stuff was set on fire. But I love how they were even matching when they got off the plane. Loved it.
I will say this: I'm extremely glad that we all went and saw this movie and are doing a review show on it, just so that way I can hear Kelsey try to give the viewers at home some delusion of the 4 elements being earth, air, wind, and fire.
Shut up. Earth, water, wind, and fire. Shut up. Leave me alone.
Earth, air, wind, and fire.
Shut up. I called it that it was wrong. Did it. I was like, nope, bad. Shut up, Chris.
That's going to be the thumbnail.
Earth, wind,
it's going to be the symbol of earth, and then air, then wind, then fire.
There's gonna be like water in the corner. Like, the fuck, Kelsey?
Literally was the first enemy in the movie too.
Shut up.
Kelsey's like, what the fuck is this?
What
is this? I don't get it. See, it had nothing to do with the fact of me telling her about Mysterio. She just didn't understand what that was. She's like, what are these boats on right now? Where is the fucking road? I don't get this.
I watched Airbender and just got stuck with the Airbenders. I never figured out the rest of them.
What do you think about, I know we're kind of getting a little off track here, but we're about to wrap this up anyway. What do you think about Netflix making a live action TV show of that?
I didn't watch the anime until this year.
Christ.
As in the last couple of months.
That's fine. I was extremely late to the anime as well. I would like to point out that Toph is a fucking beast. So
yeah,
she's bae.
Yeah,
I love how it wouldn't have been fine if he hadn't have been late too. So like if he
I thought the way she started
judged you for it.
No, the way
she
started that sentence was that she didn't watch it. The way she started that sentence, she's like, actually. So I thought she was about to say I didn't watch the anime. And she said, I didn't watch the anime. And then that's when I said what I said. She goes, until
that's
just
not what
recently.
I got out of it.
I mean, I have it recorded.
Being an ass and assuming.
I got it recorded. So, boom roasted.
Being an ass and assuming is kind of his gig.
Sometimes.
Give him his stick back.
Sometimes.
Take the stick and shove it up your...
Ooh. Well,
that's just
that
rude.
got intense.
That's just rude. But either ways, like I said, overall, the Mysterio fight, fucking phenomenal. I can't say that enough. That goddamn fight was so good.
The vision part where like the background was moving around, that was pretty cool.
Everything from the moment he got in the fucking building with Nick Fury to the moment he got hit by a fucking bullet train, everything in between there was fucking phenomenal.
Fucking ass. Yes, it was so good. It was
so
really good.
Fucking good. Like the fucking gigantic pieces of glass falling down, everything else like that. Like I was freaking the fuck.
And the way
out.
he was like mentally torturing him too. It wasn't just a physical illusion. It was a mental, not illusion, but mental torture in my mind.
He's having fun playing games with his mind.
Because even like whenever Happy showed up, he was all like, "Are you real? Stay back." Yeah. Like he was he didn't know what the fuck was happening. It's great. It's so great. But like him being able to truly use the spider sense at the very end to stop him from basically getting his fucking dome blown off, which was pretty cool.
The part that gets me is that he's just in the background with no armor, no nothing, just in a helmet, and looks completely different than his cool, awesome suit.
Right.
Right.
But so, official ratings, like I said, I think mine will happily stay at 8.5. I'll say it's my number one Spider-Man movie, and I believe, might have to correct that list, but I want to say it's in my top 5. At the most, it would be top 7, but for sure top 5.
I'm going to give it an 8.7 because I don't want to pick the same thing as Chris, but it's an 8.7.
What? No, it's there's no 0.7 bullshit. It's 8, 8.5, or a 9. All right? We're not breaking it down by every single number. Like, this is just normal.
There is no rule.
This is normal.
I support the 8.7.
No,
thank you.
Absolutely not. No. Bree has a fucking 8.5 with an asterisk next to it. Continue. Kelsey.
No.
Ugh.
I doubt. Maybe.
The movie was so good. You didn't watch it, right?
6.5.
You didn't watch this movie, right? There's something wrong with
You're not wanting to give it a 6.5. You want to go lower.
I do. That's okay. We're gonna go a 6.5.
Give your honest answer. Be honest.
That's sad.
No.
So sad.
Chris is gonna be mad at me.
So sad.
I don't want to deal with
Movie
that.
was so good.
Put your fingers up. Put your fingers up.
Movie was so good. Oh gosh.
My camera's so slow you couldn't see it.
Yeah, that looked like a fucking 10.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that was.
Yeah, that's
like a
okay.
10.
That's fine. That's fine.
Anyways.
The viewers want to know your actual opinion. Give your actual answer.
Actually, you know what? I'm comfortable with 6.5. I feel like maybe Chris and you swayed me to believe, I was being too hard on it or something.
Maybe.
There we go. Sure. Yeah. That's what happened.
All right.
Shame.
Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. So if you enjoyed this content, make sure you like and subscribe. Also, turn on the notifications. That way you get notified every time we upload another video. And don't forget, as we are a new starting out channel, the best way to help us out is to share us around. If you got friends that like podcasts or review shows, or if they want to learn some fucking information on tons of different Marvel characters and DC characters and video games, we have a show for that too. And we also game. Check it out. Yeah. But make sure you hit us on the Twitters for some more direct form of communication, or the Twitches to watch us play some video games. But at the end of all this, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we will see you next time.